Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Imam Rashed Sahib said that the blessed days of Ramadan are going by very quickly, and this has already begun. The Holy Quran mentions about fasting, that ayyam madudat, that remember, O believers, that these days are of a limited number, and those people to whom fasting is difficult and for whom it is difficult, they spend each of these days one by one, and they wish that they would come to an end quickly. But the fact of the matter is that those people who understand the blessings of Ramadan and who love Ramadan, then at the going by of each day, they regard it as an opportunity lost or missed. Allah has said that there are limited days. Sometimes Ramadan is of 29 days, sometimes of 30 days, and once Ramadan begins, then it seems as though the days have grown wings and they are flying away very fast. So this means two things. One is that there are limited days, but there is also a message for those people who really want to benefit from Ramadan, that do not think that this is a long time. It is only a few days, so take as much advantage as possible of them. In today's dars of the traditions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, some statements of the Holy Prophet ﷺ with regards to the importance of fasting is mentioned in the first tradition, which has been reported by Hazrat Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. In that, Hazrat Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu says that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that Allah the Almighty, the one who has greatness and honor, he says that when a tradition is mentioned in this manner, that this is Allah's, something that is a command of Allah, then according to the terminology of hadith, it is known as hadith Qudsi, and Allah's command is being narrated by the Holy Prophet ﷺ. So the words of this tradition, which is a hadith Qudsi, is that kullu amalil ibn adama lahu, that every son of Adam's action is for his own benefit. Often when we do something, we do it because it is of benefit to us, and that is only why we do it. So this includes all the things we do in the world, and then the tradition goes on to say except for fasting. And then the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that this fasting is solely for me, and then Allah says that He Himself becomes its reward. So Allah gives the reward Himself, Allah gives the reward of everything Himself, but this is especially mentioned about fasting, that ana ajzi bihi, that I become its reward. These are very meaningful and very wise words, and about these words he says that his teacher Hazrat Malik Saifur Rahman Sahib used to say that this means that all of the actions that man does are for himself, but fasting is for him, for Allah, and my faithful people, my faithful believers, they do it for my sake, they perform this deed for my sake, and therefore I will grant them they will be able to view me as a result of this. So this is not a small reward. So any fast that is done purely for the sake of attainment of the pleasure of Allah, then Allah Himself becomes this reward. And then the hadith says that, remember, O believers, that the fasting is as a shield for you. A shield is something which is used in the field of battle to protect oneself from the enemy's attacks, and so that he's not harmed in any way. So the means of protection that one adopts is called junnah, or shield. So what does this have to do with the fasting? There is no battle taking place in fasting, during fasting, but there is one battles against satanic thoughts, and this is what we should be involved in, and this is why the word shield is used here. And the detail of this is mentioned in the same tradition, when it says that, O believers, remember that if one of you is fasting, then there are certain conditions that they have to abide by, and they should be kept in mind. And one of these is that when someone is fasting, he should not say anything which is needless, and should not make needless noise, and he should not curse anyone. So these are all against the spirit of fasting. So all the things that we normally abstain from, the legitimate matters we abstain from, such as food, etc. Similarly, we should keep our tongues to abstain from uttering such words which could hurt someone, or which are lies, or which are against the instruction of Islam, or to make a noise in a gathering, or to speak in a way as if one doesn't care about anything. All these matters are such with which one should keep away from. And when you control your tongue in this way and you use it properly, then this action of yours will becomes a shield for you, and you will be able to be protected from the attacks of Satan. Then it says, the tradition goes on to say that if it so happens that a believer who is fasting, if someone abuses them or he tries to fight him, then he should not respond in kind. What he should say is just this much: Inni Saimun, that I am fasting, as if he's saying that I have made myself compelled because of fasting. So according to these compulsions which I have inflicted on myself, I must not respond, and I can only say that I have devoted myself in order to earn the pleasure of Allah, and I will not give a response of evil with evil. Then the tradition continues, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that, I swear in the name of that being in whose hand is my soul. So it is with great emphasis that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said this. He said that the smell from a person who is fasting's mouth is more beloved to Allah than the fragrance of musk. Islam says that one should not have any dirt or one's mouth should not, which should be clean. But while fasting, because one doesn't eat for a long time and one's mouth is closed, so it can result in in a foul smell to arise from the mouth. But such a foul smell, which is regarded as foul by people, to Allah it will smell sweeter than musk. So Allah shows compassion to someone who is fasting, and Allah is telling him that do not worry about this. Even your smell smells appears a fragrance to Allah, because he has done this to himself for the sake of Allah. And whatever good we do for Allah's sake, Allah rewards us for it. Then the tradition continues to say that, remember, the person who is truly fasting, there are two rewards, and both of these will make him extremely happy. One source of his pleasure is when he keeps away from eating, and also he fulfills all the conditions of fasting, and when he then opens the fast, then at that time of iftari he is happy. Obviously, when we haven't eaten for a long time and when it's hot and we haven't drank anything, then at that time there's a great desire to eat or drink something, and when there is permission from Allah that now you can fast, then he feels a pleasure. It is not a pleasure of just of the food, it is a pleasure of being able to fulfill the commandment of Allah, and he hopes to earn the pleasure of Allah through this. And the second pleasure that that person will earn is that when after he dies and he meets Allah, Allah will be pleased with him because of his fasting, and he will express his pleasure that during his life he fasted. So when he opens his fast, he will get one type of pleasure, and this is the other type of pleasure. When he meets Allah on the Day of Judgment, then nothing can be more pleasurable than that for him. In the second tradition, again reported by Hazrat Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, that it says that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that the person who fasts but does not keep away from lying, he does not abandon falsehood, and his action is also false. So his word is false as well as his action. So apparently he is fasting, but he is not saying what actually happened, but he's saying something which does not happen, which has not actually happened. So he's trying to hide the truth. But he should remember that Allah does not need someone to abandon his food or his drink. So the keeping away from eating and drinking is not the purpose of fasting. The purpose is to keep away from all types of evils. So if someone does not abandon falsehood, then Allah does not care whether somebody eats or drinks. And this is a great point that is described to us, that when we fast, we must keep away from all kinds of falsehood, whether it's to do with actions or to do with words. Nothing that hasn't occurred should never be uttered by the tongue, and he should not do something which would lead to falsehood. So truth should be made. One's actions should be true, and one word should also be true. And if this does not happen, then such a fast is not worthy of acceptance in the eyes of Allah. So these are the two traditions that were mentioned today. There are many other details which will be mentioned later on, inshallah. May Allah enable all of us to fast according to the true soul of fasting, and one should attain the pleasure of Allah as a result of one's fasts. May Allah enable us to do so. Ameen summa ameen.